Well, hello. Welcome to Drawing with Fire. I'm Valerie, your neighborhood pyrography artist. I'm joined with hubby.
Okay.
And he went early on the click.
Oh, did it?
A little bit, because I normally wait till it shows up on our screen. Alrighty, so today we are doing the critiques everybody was asking for, and I have 4. 2 of them are our super secret toasties, and 2 of them are our wonderful toasties in my big group.
Okay,
So,
sounds good.
Sounds good. Everything looks good. We all here. Woohoo. Alrighty. I have my brown pencils all right here. So we're ready to go. So this is Rory's picture. This is a stylized old piece. You can see the reference. I got it. Whoop. How am I going to do this? I'm trying to point. Right there. This is the original reference that Rory submitted. He is using a handmade wood burner that's wire tip, and he wants to know, he didn't tell me what type of wood. I'm wondering if it's birch, but I'm not sure. He wants to know how to decrease hard line, make it smooth. Now, Rory, English is not his first language, so I'm thinking what he's meaning is, bless you.
Sorry.
Based on the reference photo right here, some of these lines are darker, and I think that's what Rory's talking about. And this is a hard one, especially since he's got a homemade burner. I don't know if it has any kind of temp control. I don't know. It looks like he he makes his wire tips. So it may be that they're too thin. Why are you talking? I didn't ask you to record me. Go away. Anyway, so it's kind of hard on that one. I think he's talking about going a little lighter here. Based on looking at the reference photo, the lines are thinner. But overall, Rory, I think you did a wonderful job. It's a very stylized piece. Your lines are straight, that is a big deal, having your lines straight. This looks a little off here, but I think his board was tilted when he took the photo. Your lines look beautiful. Overall, your ellipses are a little off, but that's only because I'm looking hard at it. Anybody else just looking at it, I don't think they'd notice it. It looks like, based on your reference, let me pull up the big one so I can see. Overall, you've got good shading. Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to lighten, you could sand back a little bit carefully, and then you may have to kind of reburn over any lines that maybe break up because of the sanding, because that can happen when you do the sanding. But I would do a high grip 400 at least to sand, and that way when you do burn over it, it'll be smoother when you do the burn. In fact, I should have asked you what grit you sanded it to, because it may be you're not getting as smooth of a burn because you didn't go up to 400. Granted, the wood also the type of wood, and I don't know. But you could use some sandpaper to smooth out some of these areas that maybe you're not liking as much. If you don't have temperature control on your wired burner, moving your pin faster makes all the difference to how light or dark it burns. So not only is your temperature setting, but it's also how quickly you're moving. The faster you move, the less time the pin is in contact with that area that you're burning, so it burns lighter. And here's the rub where it's harder for you on this piece. To get those straight lines, you have to maintain some good even pressure. So to move fast to get these nice straight lines that you have, and you did some beautiful lines. You did really good. And I love the spiral up here. Like I said, this is a very stylized old piece of art. that he's reimagining on some level because he's turning it into a burning. So you're going to have a harder time slowing down. Maybe if you can get a next grade thicker wire for your, since you make your own tips, if you could get if you're using an 18 gauge wire, try a 17 gauge wire. That thicker wire will lower your heat, especially if you can't control it. So maybe try making your tip with just a hair thicker wire, and that might actually help lower your how dark it burns if you can't control it any other way. So unfortunately Rory's not here, so I can't ask him, hey, did this work for you? Because he's not here, and I guess it's probably the time difference.
Probably.
I'm not exactly sure. What would you say? Is that Greek or Italian?
Hang on, you moved it.
I didn't mean to.
Biso?
Biso?
Yeah, something. It's Mediterranean something.
Yeah. See, that's how. Yeah, I believe it's Italian.
Yeah, this looks Italian.
Yeah, it looks Italian.
Just to interrupt you real quickly.
Please.
Did you say hi to?
I have not said hi to
so
anybody.
Spence, Andrea, Sheila, Teresa,
Mike.
Cindy.
Oh, Cindy's here.
Yep, Mike Burrow was here. And Val Daniels.
Val. It's always weird saying hi to Val because it's like I'm saying hi to myself.
That appears to be it, although we do have 11 watching, so including.
Well, hello, Andrea, Burrow, Teresa, Spence, Val, Sheila, Mike.
Yeah.
Did I do that quickly and get Cindy? I think I remembered all the names. I think. Alrighty. So hopefully, Rory, you watch this when you're awake and let me know if that helped you. Beautiful piece. You should be very proud of it. I wonder what size this is. It almost seems like it's a bigger size. Like about a 16 by 20. And that, awesome job. Kudos. Alrighty, now we are moving on to, I'm going to save the secrets for next. We are moving on to Sophia. Now Sophia is doing a Planet of the Apes. Let me pop her reference up. There we go, movie poster. And when hopefully Greg watches this later and he'll appreciate it, since Greg's one of his first burnings was Planet of the Apes. Alrighty, so Sophia is struggling with the ape's fur around the face, but also with the water as well. I also think I can go darker overall. However, worried about burning more into may end up ruining it. Is this a trust the process moment? Alrighty, and this is birch plywood, and he's using a cheap non-branded wire tip. Alrighty, let's get into this. So this is going to be really cool when you're done, and I think it's just more about building up. Now let me pull your reference so I can see it as I do this, you guys can see. So looking at the reference, we don't see, and I'm assuming when you say the hair on the face, we're talking about the mane right here. It's going to be more, it's fuzzy, and so it's going to be more filled in. And of course, you're going to have to, it's going to be curving a little bit. Let's see here. That's not overly obvious. Let's see here, right here. It goes up, and I'm off the camera. Here we go.
Shirley Millar is here.
Hey, Shirley. Hey, Greg. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Greg. Yay, Greg's with us.
Yep.
So, on this hair around the head, we're not, let's see here, based on this. Let me get my landmarks. Alright. So, some of this hair, we have to make sure, ooh, yeah, that was a pastel on, ew.
Okay.
Give me the willies. It was like nails on a chalkboard. So there we go. So we need to make sure, start off kind of separating the fur up here. following it around, getting darker. It's okay if it comes together here because we're not seeing any individual hairs. The only individual hairs we see are on the end. So right here is going to be more solid, following the direction. There we go. And then it's a little lighter here, so you could use more of a shader. In fact, you could use a shader with all this. I know you're using a non-branded burner wire tip, but still use your shader here, kind of curving it around, bringing it over, because it kind of fades out on this movie poster. You see, in filling it in, it helps shape the face. And you've got a good base. You don't have to sand anything. It's more of a just continuation, building up of what you're already doing. And sometimes going dark can be very stressful, but in the end, it is worth it. So on some level, yes, it is. Trust the process. Hold your breath and have faith in yourself. I found with the commission I just finished that I was holding my breath a lot more than I realized, especially in the lettering. I had to keep reminding myself to breathe. But see, going darker is giving us more contrast and can smooth out this hair. Like I said, in this movie poster, we don't see a lot of definition. So what I'm doing is I'm showing you what happens when you darken it up, so that hopefully you feel a little bit more comfortable doing it. And sometimes printing out your piece, just like what I'm doing here, and taking some color pencil to it. If you're unsure of how it's going to look, do exactly what I'm doing here, and you will feel more confident in darkening it up because you can already pre-see how it's going to look, which will help you feel better. It'll give you a little bit more confidence in going dark. And if you screw up, it's a printout. It doesn't hurt anything. See, we got a nice, so yeah. I've never done one of these, so I'm having to look closely at the reference. But it is good. Oops, that was an accident. I can't lighten it on the paper. You see what happens? Oh, excuse me. When we start darkening this up, it starts having a lot more contrast, feels more as to what you're going for. You remember on the eyes, I need to sharpen that pencil. Can you sharpen this pencil carefully? It's a Prismacolor, so be careful. Yep. Let's see here. I'll just grab another one. I'm going to get a shadow here. We have to make sure. See, and I'm going to leave this one side open. See, that just helped bring that eye forward. And then on wrinkles, I'm going to try to blend them out a little bit. Let's see here, we got a line here. So I'll keep this side undone. Hopefully we can see a slight difference. So even where there's light spots, there's going to be burning because the stuff next to it is darker. Thank you. I'll finish with the one I'm using for now. Let's see here, get a little darker into the eyes. Kind of blend it out. Because we do see, there we go, following the shape of the face.
So whose is this?
This is Sophia.
Okay.
This is Sophia.
I don't see a Sophia in chat.
No. Hopefully she will see this later. So just in doing a little, and I would recommend going a little darker. And then definitely make sure you get the forehead, because it does have shading. It's just because of, I should have turned this into a sepia photo, because that would make things a lot easier. Red sometimes is hard for our brain to translate into a solid, or into a monotone color, like grays. Let me very quickly see if I can, because
Red is also, there's some physiological issues too, because when you're getting into red, some people have problems seeing into that spectrum.
Yep.
And differentiating those colors. So, and it's interesting because you got like it has to do with the infrared spectrum, but basically, just some people are more sensitive than others. And so, like you said, turning into a sepia would be good. If you had the same color as cellophane, you could look through that and see too. You could see it. But
let's see. I'm just trying to get into a color.
Doing a sepia tone would be the easiest thing.
See, how much easier is that to discern?
Yeah. Than
the red is. I mean, I'm not saying you can't see the red.
Yeah, it's much easier though.
It's just our brains.
Well,
sometimes have a hard time.
Because the medium that you're working in is monochromatic, and it's in this series of sepias and browns.
There we go. Alrighty.
So it's easier to see then. So you can really see when you change to that, like how much darker that the Statue of Liberty can be.
Yeah.
You know, and the person on the beach, too.
And just the skin tone of the character in general. Because now we got all the shading we can put in. Whereas before, I'm on a different... Whereas before it kind of doesn't... I mean, I can see it, but I don't know how other people see it. So it tends to be easier if we just switch over to the sepia and then we'll kind of be on the same page. In fact, now that I can actually see this better, darken that. All of this is actually... So the more you build up and get in here, this contrast.
So Val Daniel says, when you apply the sepia tone on Photoshop, how high of a percentage would you recommend?
In Photoshop, I use, what do? I just make it until I'm happy with it. You don't have to go full on, because in Photoshop, if you are using the sepia setting, it can go pretty yellow. And I don't necessarily want to go full yellow. So I just do it as much as my brain likes it. I don't think there's any...
What you could do, I think, is if you adjusted the picture until the darks matched, because the darkest darks, even in the red, are still going to be really close to the sepia. So if you could match those, then whatever the result was, as far as like contrast and lightness, you know, I think would be accurate. Sophie Thompson is here now.
Hey, Sophie.
She says, just trying to say, I'm here to work out, that I needed. Oh, she needed to be in the chat.
Oh.
In the app to be in the chat.
Gotcha.
She says, thank you so much, burning along with you.
Oh, no problem. So have you been able to see everything so far, or do I need to kind of... See, it could still go darker. So, but he's already starting to get some shape to him. All of it is going to be filled in. And you definitely, under the ape part, the title at the top, I would definitely just kind of, don't worry about putting individual hairs. Just shade this in pretty dark, and then your lettering's really going to pop out. Now on the water, I know it may seem overwhelming because we see all the white highlights in here, but if we back out, what we see more so is the darks. So if we put the darks in, see here, right here at its head, follow the direction. So when you burn water, you need to go in the direction that it's moving. So actually we have waves that are coming down this way, but they're also running parallel to our subject.
So in this case, you'd want to keep the strokes parallel to the horizon, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That horizon line can go a little lighter right here, a little darker here, and fade it out. But what we have here, okay, it's a choice on the rock, so I'm going to try to follow it.
So can it, one thing that I noticed that you did a really good job of making your, horizon line.
Yeah, it is.
But if you, it looks like you maybe freehanded it, but but if you want to get a nice, even line,
sand.
Val uses a piece of glass with tape, around the edges that aren't, that she's handling it.
Sometimes that can be hard to line up. I'm gonna grab it real quick. So you have to. There it is. Sometimes it can be hard to line up because it's thicker. Let's see if I can get it. Our line's right about.
But essentially what that does is it gives you a straight edge, and since it's glass, it's not going to burn.
Yeah, it doesn't make it hot.
But then you can get a straight line, just like you would a ruler.
He's actually not off too much based on...
Yeah, I see that. It looks really close.
Yeah, he's actually not off.
But one of the things that... anytime that you have
there we go.
A line that's supposed to be straight, and your brain knows it's supposed to be straight, or a circle or an ellipse or anything, those things are any minor variances are going to stand out.
Yeah, right now I'm just doing this to fade it out because the line is actually kind of faded out right here. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to lighten it up. But yeah, based on my straight line, you're pretty darn close. So with the water, it needs to be the strokes need to be somewhat even. If they're coming down, that means the wave's moving this way, so it's at an angle. So we need to follow that. And with the white later, there's a couple of different ways you could do this, but you got to be careful with one of them.
How many more critiques we got?
I got 2.
Because you're at 23 minutes right now.
Okay. I always seem to. And see, I would put Karen and Spencer on Saturday because I told the super secret group that we were going to do critique on Saturday, but I actually want to do something else with them. So I'm just filling in some of the water. Definitely need some darks here. Let's see here. Where's he at? Here's his foot. Our dark is actually here. And as soon as my brain disengages this, I'll tell you. Because there's probably sitting here going, okay, and let's see. We definitely need to make sure we get the sand. And following it with the curves. And then the shadow is going to be darker. Under here. Let's see here. We do have a separation of the shadow. Right here. Right here. And it goes, head's down here, and this lightens up here. So where I'm mentioning the lightening part, Sophia, just 400 grit sandpaper, and use lightly sand with the grain, and it will help push it back. Darker. To see how it is going Making sure we have the tonal value. Makes all the difference.
Well, Sophie says the difference turning this photo into sepia makes
all the difference.
Yes.
Yeah, it makes all the. And I did this on my phone with the Photoshop Express app, which is free. Helps if I push the right thing. It's a free app that you can use to do your photos, and Adobe Lightroom also can do the same thing. It on some things it's better, and on other things Express is better. But since both apps are free, I recommend having both of them.
Your phone is probably going to have filters, photo filters on it anyway, though too.
I had to actually download Sepia
Really?
on my last phone. Yeah, I just prefer to use because you can adjust and shift. And what I mean by that is, Sophia, your original photo that you submitted. Hey, let me download that real quick. The original one that you sent is skewed. Here I have. So your original photo is skewed right here, meaning it's leaning back like this, so that the bottom is wider than the top. And with this app, you can very quickly fix that.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's one of the reasons I like this app.
Because that is a big problem with when you're doing photography of art, is that you have to get like completely parallel to the surface, and then you're gonna miss that sometimes. So that's really cool.
So that's how quick I just fixed your photo there. And then once you go into here, into these, I'm gonna go, this takes me, I guess I'm a hue. This is gonna take me right into what we're doing with the supers on Saturday. I decided, because I know people have a hard time taking photos of their art and adjusting them, and I want to do our spring show soon online, but I really need straight photos because that saves me so much time. When the photos aren't straight and I'm doing the digital online show, it takes about an hour a photo for a person for me to get everything looking right. But if you guys can do that for me first, then all I gotta do is resize, and boom, I'm done. Means I can get things done quicker and do more things for you guys if you guys could help me with this. So Karen and Spence.
Well, Spence says if we run out of time, his can wait till the next time.
I don't want to short them though, because if we're talking about doing the adjustments on the photos, because I'm going to show you Photoshop and more again on your phone, setting up somewhat to take a photo, what to do, because Spence wanted to know about two things, and which I do actually.
Well, I mean, if we run a little long, it's fine.
Yeah. All right. So Sophia, did you have any more questions? I'm so sorry. I should have asked that question before I moved on. Should have had that question. Hopefully you can see the difference already just by filling in the hair, so we don't see individual ones, keeping our lines, horizon lines straight and following our waves. It's okay to turn up your burner. I know it feels overwhelming. Have your test board, and anywhere you've already burned, you're going to need higher heat because the wood's already burned. So to darken it, you're going to require higher heat, which actually takes us into Spence's. Because Spence is doing the bear. And one of Spence's questions was, where Spence is burned lightly, like really light, where you can see it a bit glossy, he's talking about having to really turn up the heat. That glossy light burn you see, that's burnishing the wood. It's pushing the grains down. So yes, it requires more heat. So if you know an area is going to be a darker area, go ahead and turn up that heat. So you're talking about doing some of these waves. This, and he's on, Spence is on birch and he's using an Optima. This is going to require, all these dark areas do require higher heat. I think, because I did mine on basswood. So if I transfer the information to what I know birch does, because I just finished a birch piece, I would say a heat setting of starting off 3.5 with your small 18S spear shader. We'll start getting you into the...
I know, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I need to...
Sophie
says, oh, amazing, thank you, I'm learning so much. I've been in such a slump with this one, it's giving me the inspiration and direction. Sorry about the photo being squint. Got the app downloading. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're... Heart's back to you. You're very welcome. I know how hard it can be. And I do understand losing inspiration in a piece. And my commission did that to me at one point. And it was like hard to get back going, but I knew I had to get it. In fact, it should be in Phoenix, and the bride and groom should be getting it any day now. Woohoo. Can't wait. So you are very welcome. I'm so glad it helped. You get everything.
We got 21 here with us right now.
Well, hello, awesome. 21. Did our friend stop by yet?
No.
Wow.
I didn't.
I feel unloved now.
I appreciate all the thumbs up.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
So, Spence, on yours, I'd say 3.5, 18S, and make sure you go, like I said with Sophie's, the direction of the waves. And if you start darker, it's going to help. You'll actually spend less time having to burn. But definitely go back and forth. In fact, with the 18S, let me find mine. I'm making a new pin holder, of which I will show everybody when I'm done, but I don't want to give too much away till I'm done. This is not on, by the way. I'm not turned on. I just want to show you the stroke. Get my pen through here. Alrighty, so the 18S, I would turn your board this way, and with birch, start about 3.5. Check it, make sure it's where you want to be, and then this time, because as you drag down, it's going to lighten up. But if you kind of angle your pin just a hair, let me see if I can show you. It's always hard. So let's put, so when I'm saying, I'm putting a glass here so I can angle it, but I can't. You see how I've got the pin angled? Yes. That didn't help.
It did. I think that's kind of clear.
Yes, slightly. So the bottom of the tip, in this case this edge of the tip, like it would be the opposite. I just can't do it with my hand.
So I just saw that you just tilted the board a little bit. Mm-hmm. Why'd you do that?
Tilted this because it's easier to drag down.
Okay, so you're doing mechanically you are changing the angle of the board,
yes,
so that it's easier for you to make a straight line.
Well, yeah, because at some point I don't want to stand on my head.
I know that.
To turn all upside down, and I've done that before. It's not fun.
Just clarifying.
Yes. No.
Sheila just downloaded Photoshop Express.
Oh, good. It does do a very good sepia. Yay, he's chuffed. My son used that word in regards to bad news, and he said he was chuffed, and it confused me because I know chuffed in British is they're happy, they're content, you know. So when he used it for a bad thing, I was like, I don't think you know what that word means. Or you're trying to change the meaning. So turn up your heat and just turn your board and drag down. Which you've got this on some level. You just finished your swan, which was all in water. So you've got this, Spence. I'm not sure why you're worried about it. You did a fabulous job on your swan. Let me make sure I got all the questions. Let's see here. Yep. Turn it up. Turn your burner up.
Interesting.
What's that?
Well, chuffed can be used negatively.
Can it?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's.
I've only heard like Sheila use it.
This
so
is me using. It's from.
Well, then I didn't know.
Northern England, and originally meaning puffed with fat.
What is it?
Puffed with fat.
Puffed with fat.
Yeah, but...
Well, then I'm really chuffed.
But it's a positive... No, you're not.
Then I'm really...
But it's a positive thing. I had to look it up because I've always heard it, and I'm like, all right. I understand what the meaning is, but I didn't understand
Thank you for looking it up.
The origins of it. It's like, that's a weird word.
Well, okay. So this is Karen's. Karen, very quickly, it's the last one. I can always spend more time with them in the live on Saturday, if they don't mind.
Nice.
Hopefully, and that way, if they have any more questions, it'll have rolled around in their brain for a couple of days. Karen, I'm just going to rename you now. Where'd my comments go? Oh, it helps if I'm on the right post. I left the post. Alright, so Karen is working on the skull. I don't have the reference downloaded because we have the videos on that. He's lost her way in her books need help. That's what he's lost her way in the pattern on the skull. We continued on trying to create some form of depthness so it doesn't match my reference photo, which is totally okay. That is a very busy skull, so if you want to change it a little bit, even if it's accidental, just do it in other places and nobody will know that you changed it. So I would not stress about that at all. So if this is the pencil I want. Keeps making my teeth hurt. So just because you've gone darker with the skull, the actual skull is going to need a little bit more dark, which is totally fine. This is a very dynamic skull, so it's going to need a little bit more dark in some areas. So if it's dark over here, I would make sure and get a little dark over there. I'm going to look at her reference because it has been a while since I've looked at it. So just keep going. I know that Karen's going off of my pattern, it's a very busy pattern.
Is Karen here?
No, Karen's at work.
Oh.
He will see us on Saturday, hopefully. So this area is actually darker.
So there's one thing that I would like to add to this.
Okay.
So one thing that strikes me about this is that there's a lot of texture.
Oh yeah.
And a light and shadow interplay, and it's really important on any piece that you understand how those things interact, and you can kind of get a sense of the object in 3D space, and that'll help you do your rendering, because if you don't have a clear concept of that, then you won't be able to render out the details as effectively. And that's like anytime that you're not connected to a piece of work, that always happens. It happens to me a lot. Like if I'm not connected to a work and I'm not paying attention to how it is as a 3D object, then it doesn't look as good because I'm not paying attention to those nuances. But if I'm really connected to the work and I'm really paying attention to how everything interacts and I'm tuned into it, then I do a much better job. So it's less about the actual like physical skill of it and more about the comprehension of the object.
Yeah.
And
it is harder when you can't hold it.
It is.
So what I'm doing here is I'm pushing back some of these flowers, because if you notice they are in shadow, and we have a harsher shadow line here. It goes down into
Spence says that's an awesome picture.
It is. And Karen, you have a wonderful start, so just stick with it.
Yeah. That yes, absolutely. Like, and like I see the detail on the books and stuff. Like
so, and that's where she was having problems. So we know
the books.
Yeah, the book. So
they look really good.
We have our book cover here. And we do have some shadow down below where the light is not getting as close. So that allows us to blend out this sharp line. I think this sharp line may be throwing you off a little bit. So if we bring out that shadow, meaning going away from the line and kind of blending it in, it doesn't stand out as much. Yeah. But that line does need to be straight. There we go. And then in a minute, and then you can keep the lettering. I chose on my book to get rid of the lettering because there's so much going on with this piece that the lettering, taking it away, does nothing. It does nothing. Meaning it doesn't take away from it, nor do I think it adds because we can't really see it.
You could put anything you want on those spines.
You could, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so because, let's see here, Karen also has an Optima. And on this, and she's on birch. So this is going to be similar to, well, to anybody, because anytime you've already burned an area, it's going to require higher heat. You see how this just adding more shadow just makes your book feel fuller, and this goes off into the dark. It kind of smooths it out a little bit. And see, that's why I'm saying, because even our lettering is kind of pushed back. But we start getting the shape of it. And like on the slider on this page, using your 18, let's see here, using your, yeah, you can use your 18S or your 18M, going along in the direction of the lettering, and now it does, the book does shift, so the lettering shifts. It's at just a slight angle. There we go. We're getting the shadowing in here. It allows the page to look antique. Because this is like the cover page, or there's a couple pages missing, so it could be the table of contents. We got the shadow in here. But using your 18, some of the areas you want to just use the drag down, you know, drag across or down method. And some of this, doing ovals. And when I say ovals, I'm talking about the overlap. And the thing is as you go more and more overlapping, changing direction, it starts blending it in and smoothing it out.
And also,
so when I'm using my pen, this is, and I tell you the oval stroke, this is what I'm doing. I'm using the front half of the pen, and I'm moving in circles over and over and over again.
Because if you, like, if anybody who's ever worked in ink, like, I think if you don't do something like that and you just do like short strokes or something like that, eventually patterns emerge.
Yep.
And it doesn't look right.
See, I'm getting pattern. But for some things, this works. And other times, oval, and just keep going. Overlapping, overlapping, overlapping. So like right here on your book down here, you can do some oval stroke to actually darken it, and you're going to have to raise the heat. So this is going to, right here, to darken this area is probably going to require right around a 4, could be higher, because it's already burned. And then we have the string hanging down. We need to make sure we get these lines.
I just realized that I've been, since this picture came up, you know how sometimes like songs play in your head?
Yeah.
I've been hearing songs from Muppet Treasure Island, which we watched recently.
Yeah, we've already watched it. So
I just
guess
like, what's in my head? It's like, oh.
Don't ever ask what is in Jason's head.
That's true.
That is a question you don't want the answer to. Alrighty. So just making sure, and turn it. To get some of that shadow in there, and if it gets too dark, remember you can sand with the grain. And see, I can see right here, this is a long grain board, so anytime you're sanding to fix, you need to sand with the grain and kind of overlap the area so that you don't get an indent. You need to go bigger than the area and then reburn. What's wrong?
Andrea says, thanks. I learned a lot I was doing wrong.
Oh, I didn't know thought you were doing anything wrong.
Not wrong. Just you can do it more better. Right?
Did you really just say more better?
That is a technical term that we artists use sometimes.
More better.
Yes.
Alright. And again, we need to... Some of these pages are hanging out. So we need to make sure. And some of this is a mess, even in the photo. So I don't get too hung up. I kind of jump around. But see here, I'm using the oval stroke, even with the pencil, to try to blend out. You always go right up next to your piece as much as you can. But if you're going to go right up to your subject, turn your piece. That way the heel of your pen is back here away from the subject, so that when you're burning right up against it, if you actually accidentally touch back, you're not burning on here. Plus, if it's a higher heat, you want to keep this away because it's radiating heat and will yellow that area. So flip your piece.
That's a good tip.
Heon?
No.
Oh. So.
No, there's too much on the screen. There's nowhere for her to appear.
Gotcha. I forwarded her. So even just doing the oval strokes on the printout, I'm starting to blend it out.
Andrea says overburning and trying to correct a happy accident.
Gotcha. I'm glad it could help. Now we do have some lines in our...
Val Daniel says, I have to say I will be using this little ditty of a pencil on a copy of the burned image to save me so many headaches, or should I just add more here or here? Val says thank you for that. Cindy says, back to work for me. It's been good for me. Thank you for another helpful life. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Cindy. Thank you for coming.
And we are at 11:47.
All right. So we'll start wrapping it up. Like I said, I'll spend more time with Karen if she needs it on Saturday. It always makes it easier when people can make the live when we're doing this, because then I can ask questions and get clarification.
Yeah.
Like with Sophie, that really helped. You guys are all doing an awesome job. Keep it up. And when you think you screwed it up, keep going some more. Because in the end, you'll work it out. And if you don't, you learned a lot more than if you didn't mess up. So next week, what are we doing next week? See, I was also going to do
the Ravens.
Yeah, but the Raven composition is going to take time for me to fully see it and do the photos, because I thought about doing that on Saturday with for the supers that are here, because my brain is like hoo 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 hoo.
That's
hoo 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 hoo.
That's pretty common though.
All right, supers.
Raven.
On Saturday, do you want me to work on a Raven composition layout? Or do you want me to work with you guys on the photos?
No Burl.
What did Burl do?
She said spiders. I think she's trying to get you back for the snake.
I know that. And I told her I appreciated her showing up for the lives for the snake. That if he burns a spider, I will critique it. And I will be okay with it. Because
even if it's like
ooh,
that's real anger, folks. You saw it here first.
Don't.
Andrea says pigs.
I don't have any. I think it's supposed to be pictures. Is it supposed to be foot pics? Pics? Because I had no plans of burning a pig anytime soon.
I mean, it's okay if it is, if that's what you want. That kind of came out of left field there.
I know. It threw me off. Oops. So I'll wait for Andrea to...
Burl says, yep, just pick my photo. Okay, Burl.
So, Raven composition, or, because my box, my pin holder, I expect to have, hopefully, fingers crossed, done before Saturday, so that won't be alive.
Oh, no pigs, just joking.
Okay. You kind of threw me off there. So, working on a photo, on taking a photo of your piece, or Raven composition. You know what? You don't have to answer me today. The thing is, that did not resolve my issue, what we're doing next Tuesday for everybody. I don't know.
I've seen comments for Ravens. Burl wants to know about new pins.
The 18 extra small is now available. Let's see here. So this is the 18 extra small. Probably easier if I flip it this way. This is the 18 small. So you can see the difference in size. And this one does burn hotter, even though it's a 17 gauge wire. It does burn hotter, especially on basswood. Cut some time down. Oh, and birch. It burns hot on birch too, at a lower setting. So,
Andrea says, "Rest your brain." And I think that
no.
We can decide. We got a week, right? You can decide. I was gonna say.
No.
I'm not deciding, Jack.
So yeah, this is the small. This is extra small. Extra small.
Spence wants to do taking a photo next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
And it's Ravens on a Saturday.
Let me think.
Well, you don't have to decide right now.
Let me think. Alright, so that's extra small, small, and medium. There we go. I know it's hard to tell size. There we go. If this is about the accurate size of them. Right about here. Yeah, that's about right. So the extra small 18 is available for purchase. The one pin I wanted Pat to design has some flaws that are not going to be easy to work out, so I'm probably going to skip that one. And then the other one he was working on, he decided no. So the 18 extra small is the only one that made it through. And I will definitely figure out what we're doing the next 2 lives. Alrighty. Do we have any other questions?
Burl says, I might need that pin.
It's a good pin. I am happy with the pin I found for the commission. I grabbed that pin more than any other pin. So, yeah, even though it's smaller, it's definitely heavy duty. It's stable. But the heat, I had it on 0 for basswood and it was still burning pretty dark. So it's a little bit of an adjustment to get used to. Have your tester wood to make sure on that. Alrighty.
Burl says, what was a flawed one supposed to do? Pin? Pin?
I think she's talking about... I accidentally showed it on camera one time. But nobody picked up on it, so... The edges need to be rounded, and for what it is, it would take Pat too long to make the pin, because not only does he look at how the pin works, but how long it takes him to make it, and if he can make jigs and whatnot to make it quicker. Because if the tip takes, twice as long to make, he's less likely to sell it unless it's a custom, which costs more. So, yeah. It needs a new angle on it, and edges, there's just stuff to it that it probably is not, and ain't going to be worth it. So, it was in regards more so to lettering. I'll say that. It was something in regards to lettering. Alrighty, so I have no idea what we're doing next week. I will see the supers on Saturday. We will talk in the super secret group and figure out what we're doing on Saturday. Because I don't even know that I have all my ravens picked for the piece. That's why. What I mean by I haven't imagined it yet fully. Alrighty. Now, don't forget, you guys, all four of you are doing wonderful jobs. Please keep it up. Don't give up on any of your pieces. You're doing wonderful. Now, everybody, you moved it.
What I do?
You know what to say. You know what to do. You're awesome. You can do this. Why? Because you're a pyro artist.
I have nothing to add.
Happy burning, guys. Bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're new. Bye, guys. You hungry?
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty.
Today is the pastrami sandwiches.
Oh.